Good morning, Tyler.
Morning.
We're here with Scott Mulvaney of Live the Fuel. Morning.
Good
How's
morning.
it going? So I don't know, Scott, if you saw, but we were up pretty late. We were at the in the Arts Quest at home improv comedy thing online. Tyler performed in it.
I did not even know that was a thing. I feel like I missed out.
There'll be more.
Okay.
It was actually pretty interesting. There were like 40 people in there at least one time. I don't know.
But there's only 20.
Oh yeah! As soon as Tyler's set started, everyone was like jumping ship. So I'm kidding. How's it going? How's life in Allentown been the last week?
I've been very active, getting my outdoors dialed in and mountain biking and dialing in the gym in the garage here because all the fitness facilities have been shut down. So all my friends with CrossFit gyms are closed. So yeah.
For those who don't know, Scott, the fired up epic life. Live the Fuel. Life coaching. Obviously, you're big into CrossFit. You were firefighter out west for a period of time. Are you going nuts? I mean, I know that you're keeping yourself busy, but you're not a guy who likes to stay in a room for any period of time. So how are you coping?
Upgrades were added to the home studio just to, I don't know, as a gear whore myself. Upgrades to the garage gym. But yeah, I'm standing by because actually the cool thing was I do a lot of branding and marketing. You and I, George, have a lot in common, obviously, in that front. I think you're still like full speed ahead on the social media stuff, right? Like you're just still crushing that, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have, yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, like I love the strategy and the branding. I mean, I've had people coming out of the woodwork like, dude, you've been doing this online thing. And I'm like, oh, it's the online thing now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I've done this online thing. So.
It is funny how you find I'm seeing people who they're quickly realizing how easy it is to video chat with each other. I'm not saying like in person is obviously would be better, but I just messaged this band that I really like that I found on Spotify. I hit them up on Facebook. I'm like, I don't think you guys are doing anything. Maybe, I don't know. Like, do you want to chat on Skype? It's just neat that we have this now, and I think people are going to be more used to it, hopefully, when this is over. And
hopefully, you don't get too used to it.
Well, that too. Yeah.
Rather than just being outside. This is easy. But I'm actually interested, Scott, you're a life coach.
Well, that's not... I don't like to use that term. I've helped people in those ways.
Describe it then.
Well, no, professionally, my core business is sales, marketing, and branding.
Yeah.
But because of my, we'll call it lifestyle brand, obviously the podcast has been going on almost 4 years, and that tagline is we fuel your health, business, and lifestyle. And I always put health first because I've had to learn that the hard way over the years from, as George hinted, the firefighting and everything else. That's why fire's in my logo. I like to live fired up. And so, yes, a few people have called me their life coach, and I'm like, all right, dude, I'm just here, sir.
It's more like, helping out.
Let me rephrase the question. So being optimistic is part of your thing, right?
Yeah. Because there's enough negative Nancys on this planet.
How do you stay optimistic, and how can you tell, like, maybe somebody that's on this podcast that's having a very hard time staying optimistic? Right?
That guy right there.
Yeah.
The world's going to throw a lot of crap at us, right? And the resilient ones, the ones who keep the mindset positive, the ones who stay creative and find new ways to reinvent their lifestyle, those are the ones that are going to succeed. I mean, one of my oldest mentors told me, he's like, Scott, when you fail to embrace change, you fail to succeed. And we have to overcome these things. And yes, to your point, sometimes it takes a video call, right? I mean, for fun, Friday night, George, I'm sure I feel like you should have just run the call, but like, we did a huge online social happy hour.
Yeah, it's cool.
So we had like over 20 people in there just like laughing their butts off. It was completely hodgepodge. It was awful. It was just because like usually on a webinar you want to mute people and not mute people, and we just let it go for a while, and it was hilarious.
That's what they did in that arts class. They unmuted me for like 1 second, and then I got muted. I got muted again right away. I tried. I did my best. So
is that how parts to answer your question, right? It's like you have to get creative. You have to you look at those the hurdles and speed bumps as short term. Okay, what are we going to do to get creative and get around this stuff? So Yeah, not everybody has a garage gym behind their house. Like that's one advantage. I've been working on that for like 5 years.
It's true. What have you been doing besides? I mean, you said you had the happy hour and that. What have you been doing like this? Other video calls or things like that?
It's thank God I put a scheduler on my site a year or two ago, because now I have to go back in and tweak it and enhance it, because more and more people reaching out. I got literally, this was so cool. Yesterday, one of my old hotshot firefighting buddies, one of my old Wildland firefighters, messaged me on Facebook saying, "Dude, what do I need to get going on podcasting?" And I was like, "What?" Like, this guy was anti-tech.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Dude, let's set up a call on Tuesday. I got you." Because normally I would charge a business for that, but this is one of my old fire brothers, man. I mean, we were started live together. I was like, that's cool. I was like, I'm honored that he even reached out to me,
Yeah.
Talk about your old firefighting days. What was that like? Where were you? And like,
so have you seen the movie Only the Brave? Came out in 2017. Story of the fallen wildland firefighters in Arizona that were burned over. That was me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was actually an Arizona-based hotshot crew. I did that for 2 years. I was in my 30s. They called me old guy. I was like, because it's very militaristic when you serve on a hotshot crew. It's more like, I didn't say this, the movie said this, but they call it more special forces style. I think at one point in the movie they called us like Navy SEALs of firefighting. I'm like, okay, thanks. But, you're basically, you got 40, 50 pounds of gear on your back and you're living in the mountains. So, you're fighting wildfire. So you're probably the healthiest you've ever been, but also the most exhausted you've ever been, because you're doing that 16 hours a day. Right. But you're in Mother Nature. It's so cleansing and healthy.
You miss it?
Yeah. Every so often, when I have conversations like this. But, I also realized, again, embracing change, dude. I went from like a farm kid who grew up here north of Easton, Pennsylvania, went to Penargil High School, to figuring out I wanted to go to college, I thought, went to NACAC, went to Penn State. For people listening, NACAC, the old school people know that as North Veterinary Community College. And then got into a couple of companies because I couldn't afford college, so I had to pay my own way. And then I stopped doing that, worked my way up in companies without the degree, blah, blah, blah. And then I decided I found firefighting. I was like, I'm going to go figure that out. And then went back to school at the Sales University, finished a degree to kind of check that off, because I was the first person in my family to have a degree. And then said, you know what, screw all this. And then I moved out west to go be a firefighter for a couple of years and thought that might have been my next life path. And then I didn't. Came back to help a friend start a company here, and then started my own company. So there's a very fast transition, but there's a lot of change. There's a lot of hats being shifted.
And I think that's like, even in what I do, like, you get change is scary. So even like when we bring on a new client or another client moves on, like, you never want, like, I always like are hesitant to go through that change. But once you say, hey, we're just going to do it, this is how things happen, realize it, that's been very helpful on my end anyway.
I mean, what are you struggling with?
What do I struggle with?
Yeah.
Well, we only have a minute left, so we're gonna have to call back for a 10-minute.
Or we're gonna have to have you guys come back on my show or something.
Yeah.
Totally, 100%. But in all seriousness, we have about a minute left. So can you tell people how they can find out more about what you're doing?
Everything online is at Live the Fuel, all one word. Live the Fuel. It's on Instagram and Facebook and the podcast.
It's under your face right now. I put it under the video.
There we go.
It's down there. Mine's down there. Yeah.
But yeah, I made it very easy. Nobody owned the name Live the Fuel years ago when I bought it in 2014, so I made sure I crushed it everywhere.
Yeah, that's good. Well, hey, man, stay positive. We'll probably be checking back. Well, I think Tyler needs to check back in with you.
Yeah.
To keep his spirits up.
We got to get you on the podcast.
Yeah,
sure. Message me and we'll do that. Scott, thank you. Have a great day.
Yep. See you, man.
Same here, guys.